Just want to go ahead and say I called it. I fucking called it. I told you guys that they were going to try and ice and kill off Claude. They're going to try and kill Anthropic. They're going to try and eviscerate this company under Trump legislation or whatever, Trump leadership. I don't know what you want to call that. But the Pentagon, Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump are going to try to make Claude and Anthropic extinct. Recently, just like 1 or 2 days ago, right? They had so Claude put out a little chart that basically showed all the jobs that they would have that are gonna help AI or that AI can change and actually be implemented in and be effective in. And recently now, the government has officially named Claude and Anthropic a supply chain risk, like for the first time. 5 hours ago, let's watch.
Officially designated Anthropic as a supply chain risk. The fight between the Pentagon and AI giant Anthropic is entering entirely new territory. The Department of Defense officially designated Anthropic as a supply chain risk, and that is an unprecedented level of hostility between any American tech company and the U.S. government. Anthropic is now the only American company ever to get this label, which has been historically used for companies that pose a national security threat from foreign adversaries. Recent examples include Chinese and Russian companies accused of espionage. Think of Huawei, ZTE, and Kaspersky.
The supply chain risk designation is one that is designed for foreign companies to ensure that they're not inserting malicious products that might be used for sabotage or backdoors for, cyber operations into U.S. military products.
The near-term effect will be banning U.S. military use of these models, and it does require defense vendors and contractors to certify that they don't use Anthropic's technology for anything government-related. But Anthropic's investors do worry about the wider chilling effect this could have on its booming enterprise business. This is now a $380 billion company looking to go public in the next year, according to sources. Anthropic's CEO, in a statement, says his AI company has no choice but to fight in court, calling the administration's move not legally sound. Anthropic is arguing the scope of this is narrow because of the relevant statute. What's been applied here is meant to protect the U.S. government rather than punish a supplier, and that this only applies to specific government contracts, not the rest of its sprawling enterprise business. Some experts expect it to be blocked in court.
Anthropic has said it's going to sue. I expect that lawsuit to come any minute now. I actually expect that a judge will very, very quickly block the designation on a temporary basis because it's so obvious that Anthropic will probably win and it's being harmed, potentially fatally, while the designation is in place.
In the meantime, Microsoft backed up Anthropic. The tech company is a major investor and said lawyers determined Anthropic's products can remain available to customers outside of the Pentagon. Amazon added to that, telling AWS customers and partners they can continue to use Claude under the same conditions and are supporting those with Department of Defense workloads as they transition to alternatives. Google also followed suit, continuing to offer Anthropic's AI technology for clients excluding defense work. OpenAI CEO Sam Altman pushed back on the supply chain designation by the government, even as these companies compete. And OpenAI jumped in to secure that government contract, a move he said was to de-escalate the situation.
I don't personally think the Pentagon should be threatening DPA against these companies. For all the differences I have with Anthropic, I mostly trust them as a company, and I think they really do care about safety, and I've been happy that they've been supporting our warfighters.
A senior Pentagon official told CNBC the military will not allow a vendor to insert itself into the chain of command by restricting the lawful use of a critical capability and put our warfighters at risk.
Anthropic is basically like they're ready to sue, and surprisingly, they're getting some backing from the other AI companies. Amazon has said AWS servers and their customers are still okay to use outside of defense work. Microsoft says Anthropic's products remain available to customers after Pentagon blacklist. So they're not all the way in the dirt, but they really have to hope that the judge is on their side with this litigation process. they really have to hope that the judge is on their side with this litigation process, because the war on the Department of Defense that is going to start between these two big bodies is going to be something crazy to see. And this is the first American company ever to be designated as a supply chain risk. So, I mean, this is kind of crazy. This really has me wondering what the AI companies are doing backdoors. Like, we know Bill Gates is a very questionable person. He's in the Epstein files, has tons of weird shit going on. Bill Gates is a billionaire. Amazon has all kinds of AI stuff they're working on, billionaire. OpenAI is now a billion-dollar company who has people like Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, Sam Altman, all in it or around each other. Those people are very questionable and something to look at, like, what the fuck is going on there? What else? Claude has been putting on this front, or showing that they are the AI company with a soul, or they have some kind of thing that they like, or some they have some kind of ethics, code of ethics. But I haven't really heard anything from Perplexity. Who's Perplexity ran by? Nvidia's doing whatever the fuck Nvidia's doing. Perplexity is not even a American company, so I'm sorry about that one. Google's DeepMind, Gemini, I haven't heard anything from Google or their CEO, Meta. I think Meta is always something to be sus of, and Mark Zuckerberg is never like completely trusted in. Like, I think everybody looks at Mark Zuckerberg as a robot. Not saying that he is, but people are always weary or questioning what he's got going on. So it's at least good to see that we have two companies backing Claude on this, and they haven't lost all hope. But I am very curious on how this process is going to play out. This is really a boxing match, like heavyweight boxing match. I said this was a heavyweight boxing match before. No, this is a heavyweight boxing match for all the unified belts. We're going to see who comes out on top. Trump and Pete Hegseth / Pentagon, or Claude. I think Claude should come out on top. I'm not gonna lie. I think personally they're in the right here. Like, they even said that they used Claude and AI in the Iran attack, but they're gonna force everybody to take him off their service because of what? Because they just want to strong arm us? How? That can't work. That can't work. There's no way we just allowed this. You know what? Get to do whatever you want. No supply chain you're gonna be in. No government forces. But whenever we need you, we're gonna call on you and we're gonna use you. But it's on our terms, not yours, because you don't want to sign a $200 million contract to give up all your guidelines and do whatever you want. That's why people like ChatGPT and OpenAI have to backpedal and backtrack and say all these statements like cancel ChatGPT. Oh, sorry, it was really, man, these AI companies are scary. AI is scary, but what's even scarier is that the people in power want to use that AI for whatever they decide. Licentiousness, hedonism, unfiltered and unquestioned things, mass surveillance, AI weaponry, autonomous AI with deadly, lethal power, maybe even nuclear AI. Who knows? That could drop bombs. They could send a B-2 over your next door country with the press of a button. It's scary. I will say it is scary, but that's really all I got for today. I'm not gonna lie. Recently around AI, it's just doom and gloom. That's the only thing that it is. So, catch you on the next one. Peace.